Hi, it's me. I don't need no introduction. I just saw the movie 8-Bit Christmas on HBO Max. Well, not mine, my friend Mike's. And I'm gonna tell you what I thought of it. It's basically what you do when you take a Christmas Story and Jingle All the Way and put them in a blender. It's it's basically about Neil Patrick Harris spending Christmas with his daughter, and he's telling her the story of how when he was a kid, when he wanted a Nintendo. And it takes it, and then we go back to the 1980s, late 1980s. But if you think you know the story and where it's going, okay, it's a spoiler I don't want to give away. But I thought it was a pretty good film. I thought it was funny and very heartwarming-ish. I thought everybody played their parts well. And it's definitely a good film for the whole family. I mean, it makes us think back when we were kids in the late 80s and how much we wanted a Nintendo too. Unlike game systems today, that make Nintendo look like old news. But it's always good to cherish the classics. So I give 8-Bit Christmas 9 out of 10. Now I want you to hear Mike from MHY Passions. I'm sure you saw his channel.
Yeah.
Tell you what he thought of the movie.
All right, y'all. What's up? I'm glad to be here with Leafslide Critic 75 in a different setting than usual, so it's a little bit more chill, which is good. I like it. So maybe we have to switch it up sometimes. I don't know. That depends. Before we get into the film, first up, big hint, game room tour coming up before the end of the year. So, that being said, on to the major stuff. The film, this is my second time seeing it. It was pretty good. It's kind of like he was saying between Jingle All the Way and Christmas Story, but he's forgetting one very important thing. Tilt it more towards me.
What?
Tilt it to the left. Yeah, there you go. The one thing he's missing is it kind of makes me think of Pixels too. So, It was a really awesome film. It kind of makes me think about Pixels, but kind of set in a Jingle All the Way type setting. But the background is just quickly, it's all about this guy who is reminiscing about how he wanted a Nintendo so bad and telling his daughter who wasn't really interested in the story and make it more interesting for her to the point that she forgot about our technology and wanted to see how he got his hands on the system. And it just made me think about when I was a kid. I was blessed. I have all the consoles that I could find, everyone from Atari to PS5. I've had every console I can get my hands on, starting in the 80s. So, I don't know how Scott's differs, but as y'all have seen my collection grow and grow, I think that's a pretty good chronological order for me, starting with the Atari and working my way up to PS5. Now, let's see what Scott has to say.
Hello. Like everybody, Scott from Mardi Gras Gaming. Like Mike was saying, it's kind of like Jingle All the Way, where it's a quest for the old Nintendo.
Yeah.
As he said before, I also have just about every console to man. But that's what I like to do.
That's what we live for.
I mean, it kind of, let's just hope these kids in this generation appreciates, besides with the classic games, with this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, my oldest son, he even asked me, why you keep blowing on the cartridges to get the games working? I'm like, that's what we used to do.
That's right.
I mean, every kid in our generation blew in the Nintendo cartridges just to get the games to work.
Yeah.
And so one day, he was actually playing the Nintendo. He says, I can't get it to work. I said, well, you remember what to do. He says, oh, blow on it. He started doing it, and the game started working just fine.
You know, it's not just the NES you had to do that.
Super
with.
Nintendo, the Sega Genesis,
Game Boy.
N64.
Yeah.
Not
Game
too much
Boy.
with Game Boy, but the Super Game Boy maybe.
Game Gear.
A little bit, yeah.
Not really, but sometimes. Yeah.
I actually enjoyed this movie.
I did too.
Besides Pixels and Ready Player One, basically, all great movies. But you don't see too many video game related Christmas movies.
That's true.
I hope they do a Super Nintendo one next.
Oh.
That'd be awesome.
Wait, I know what it's going to be called. I've got a very strong feeling. It's going to be called a 16-bit Christmas. And if we're lucky for a trilogy,
A 64 Christmas.
no, that's the fourth installment. Third would be a 32-bit Christmas. Featuring a 32X, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Or Sega, well, Sega 3, maybe.
Same difference.
Yeah. I really found it was interesting that they referenced the blowing in the games right off the bat. That made me smile. It's like, yeah, that's a real gem from our decade. We know exactly what that means.
And I still do it.
I do too. You have to with some of the old cartridges. It's hard to explain it.
Yep.
It just works. I don't know why, but it works. Yeah.
Alright, we'll let y'all get back to Michael.
Well, I hope you enjoyed their views on the movie. I like the 80s setting. It manages to have a good 80s setting without throwing too many 80s throwbacks in your face, constantly, unlike Ready Player One kind of did. But it was an entertaining film. I still think for the whole family. So, like I said, I give it a 9 out of 10. What do you guys give it?
About the same.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great. I enjoyed it.
It was pretty good, and I liked how they did incorporate some of the other things from the 80s, like some slogans and other toys and stuff, like Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah.
And some of the boxes that they used, like for Black & Decker, with the original 80s boxes, it looked like to me.
And the SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs too. And spoiler alert. But yeah, the other thing I really enjoyed was the music. It made me think of when I was a kid, man. That was the 80s soundtrack.
Yeah. Everything was set in the 80s, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely good soundtrack and not all Christmas music.
The only other thing that I'm not 100% sure of, I had this as a kid. I don't remember if it was the late 80s or early 90s though. The Power Glove makes an appearance. So
It does.
I'm gonna.
That's true.
I want to say it was like 92 or 93 because it came out from Mario 3 if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna do some homework before my next video. I've got a whole 2 days to do it. I think we're gonna be okay.
Yeah. Well, that was our review of 8-Bit Christmas. Hope you enjoyed the review and
Happy Christmas.
y'all have a happy Christmas from me, Mike, and
Michael.
Scott.
bye-bye.